civilization known as Sumer. You might be wondering, where is Sumer located? Well, Sumer, you can see on this map, is located along the Tigris and Euphrates River and located in modern-day Iraq. Time period. Some important dates about Sumer. 5000 BCE to 1750 BCE, Sumerian civilization in Tigris and Euphrates Valley was settled. Around 3600 to 3600 BCE was the mention of Sumer at Uruk. 2150 BCE to 1400 BCE, the Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh was written on clay tablets. 1772 BCE, the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest codes of law, was written.
Some of the key figures in Sumer were their gods because they were especially important to the people. So they had air, water, and water gods, known as Enlil and Enki, and then their mother goddess, Nehushtan, who kind of looked over everyone, and then An, who kind of had moral authority over everyone and oversaw judgment of the people. Their rulers, some important ones, were Gudea, who ruled in Lagash from 2141 to 2122 BCE, and basically he survived through the Gudi attacking, but he also made some bad alliances, as in alliances with some of Lagash's enemies. But he was also a main contributor to the arts and architecture putting up buildings and ziggurats and date palms and a bunch of other stuff. Ur-Nammu ruled in Ur from 2113 to 2094 BCE, and he created the third dynasty of Ur. And he also created a bunch of building projects with canals and irrigation and more ziggurats. And he died from wounds sustained in battle with the Gudi, and his death was commemorated in him. And then the final one, Ishibi Era, who ruled in Isin from 2017 to 1985 BCE. And basically, he kind of had the third dynasty of Ur collapse, and he was a former army soldier, but then he came to rule Isin, but because of his also bad alliances with a bunch of their enemies, they collapsed the third dynasty of Ur. But he declared Ur independent from itself, and the kings made them created the first dynasty of Ur, so he was the first monarch of that.
So the Sumerians were one of the first people, among the first people, to make wheels and then attach them to wooden boards to make carts. They also made irrigation canals to take the water and bring it to help them plant farms. They also had really fertile land because they're in the Fertile Crescent. They made a number system, and they used clay tablets and pointed reeds to write and put down history and write things like books and the Epic of Gilgamesh. And they also used cuneiform to write.
So for decline, the fall of Sumer was after the third dynasty, and so after many different invasions of Sumer, Sargon of Akkad was finally the one. But before that, they had famines and other invasions, and the city-states they weren't controlled well by other leaders after they tried to conquer it, and so that prevented them from being successful and then being weak enough to be taken over by the Akkadians.
Some interesting facts would be Gudea's statues, because he basically put giant statues of himself in all of the ziggurats to show the gods that he was devoted to them.
So the Epic of Gilgamesh tells a story about gods and a big flood that destroyed a lot of things. And the water god Anuki and his clay humans, he made clay humans which turned into humans, and they would rule and they'd support the gods and worship them and help the gods do their work.
There was also a lot of arranged marriages in that time, just because it was with monarchs and kind of building family strengths, and but people were also killed over it. It was a very prestigious thing.
And then many of the families had personal gods. So when they had like a tough time with like famines or something like that, they would just pray to their personal god and see like if they would help them out, which most likely they would. That's it.
I just have one quick question.